Oh my. Party people. This is a different one. It's definitely a different one, but I've been threatening it for a while. So, what I think I'm going to try to do, hopefully in the next not too long, is maybe shorten up this muzzle a little bit. Look at this. It's long, it's like a cylinder. And some people think it might even be somewhat ursine, as opposed to something a little bit perhaps less ornery in the Canadian sense. So, what I have is I've got a few pictures that I've taken in profile of my cat, and I might try to use that as something like an outline if I can manage. We'll see. Um, and secondly, after that's sort of set up, I might have a better way to do the mouth and the nose than I'm currently doing it. Because right now, what the mouth is, it's a bunch of these different. I guess I can kind of move them and put them back later. There are a bunch of these different shapes that get moved back and forth depending on what the mouth looks like. And as a result, you can only have, certain shapes showing up as you can see right now. I think I know of a better way to do it that will be a little bit smoother and perhaps fit a little bit better to the muzzle shape. So I think, and this is, of course, it's been a while since I've actually done Blender before. I think what we'll do here is first, we'll add those pictures. So we want to add, where is it? Add an image and then a mesh plane. And what we can do is here. These are the pictures. So import images as planes, and let's just make sure I'm not messing this up. So texture, that's fine. Extension, fine. Probably size, absolute. Height, they don't need to be so big. But I guess we can change it later. And yeah, I guess import images as planes will do it. Where are they? There they are. Look at that cute little cat. Okay, so first order of business, I think, is let's figure out which one we want to use. I want to use the one that is the most side view. So the most sort of facing away as possible. So what do we have? So I'm looking for the ears. These ears are not quite what we're looking for. Not quite what we're looking for. This is a little bit better. So let's delete these two. This one's a little better. This one's maybe. I think I like this one better though. If I was to A/B it. And this one, I think, hmm. So I'm going to say no to the middle one. And let's see. If we were to compare these two. Whoops. Click, click. I would say, well, let me move things to make things. Hold on, maybe a little bit more like this. Okay. I think that the left one is more like, this is tricky. I suppose we can always change it later if we want to go back and do some changes. So let's go with the left picture for now. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to take this guy. I want to crop it a little bit more so it's just the head. So let's do how do I do that? Control R? Is it Shift I? No. See, this is, oops, whatever that was, it wasn't the right thing to press. What can we do? I want to do Oh, I guess we want to go into edit mode, don't we? And now it's Control R. Okay. So undo that, back to edit mode. Control R to do a cut, and then we move the cut here. Control R, do another cut, probably around here. Control R, do another one right here. Control R, do another one. Come on, come back here. And now what we can do is we can delete some faces. We want to select faces and get all these guys. Herr Hamsi, welcome. I'm struggling to remember Blender commands, so I think we want to delete faces. Yeah, there it is. Rotate. What is it? X, Y, Z, rotate, Z, 90. No. Back to object mode. Rotate, Z, 90. Yeah, here we go. So I'm in the process of trying to fix this model face a little bit. How do we do? I think this. Yeah, this is transparent. Okay, now we scale it approximately, right? I guess we can use the back maybe as a reference. Scale down a little bit, maybe a little bit of a rotate, move it back. Yeah, something like this, right? Hum diddly. Hum diddly. It's been a minute since I've done Blender stuff. I'm sure you can tell. Okay, maybe about, actually, you know what? Maybe we just matched up with the eyes and sort of do the rest from there. Like this. Get the shape from the back to the eyes a little bit better. So scale it. Whoops. Is that rendered? Or what did I just do? Control Z. Render, did that do it? I guess that did it. So let's do material. No. Solid. There we go. That'll do. I want it to be a little bit transparent. Okay, so let's scale it down a smidge more. Let's see. So obviously this is a little bit different geometry-wise. Eyes are a bit farther forward. Yeah, what would I change here? What would I change? I think what's going to happen is maybe the top of the forehead goes down a smidge. The snoot definitely goes in. And I think we changed the geometry a little bit. So I did save things. So let's just try to sort of line this guy up here-ish. Yeah, maybe we're about here. No, because we need more snout. Maybe something like this. Maybe rotate like here. Yeah, this is feeling a little bit better, right? At least as far as not being completely strange proportion-wise. Maybe. Don't forget to hydrate. Okay, so now the question, do we start on the skull a little bit, or do we want to go from the snoot? I think maybe let's start with this guy, and we want vertices. Let's just bring this a little bit down. Let's bring the top a little bit down. Just a smidge. And then I think we'll bring the front out some. And this will come out too. Give us a little bit of that, that contouring. And then, actually, I think for now, maybe that's all I'm debating. I'm debating bring the skull out, or do we bring the top of the snout? Do we bring, where is it? Do we bring this stuff up? I guess it'd be more like, do we bring this stuff up? You know, maybe not that much. Or do we bring this stuff kind of out. Oh my, this is, okay, hold on. Shift middle click? No, alt middle click. Yeah, center here, back here. This is the orthographic view. Yeah. I think let's start by bringing the front of the snoot out a little, or the skull out a little bit. Bringing the top down just a smidge more. And then let's get the rest of the distance with this. You basically want to grab what? Oh my goodness, how does this work? Okay, I think I see it. We want to grab basically the top here. Maybe not this one. And also maybe these sides. Yeah, and this one too. You know what? Did I already? Okay, I already turned on X symmetry. So if we move one side, it'll move the other side. So we only need to grab these and the ones connected next to them, which is this one and this one. Because if we do this, yeah. Let's go back here and kind of, you go sort of out like this. So start getting that up. And then we can remove these two. Maybe do a little bit more. Then remove the next two. A little bit more. Remove the next two. Oh, I feel like I'm messing. I wasn't removing as many things as I needed to be just now. Yeah, so start there. Remove. No. Remove 1, 2. And then grab just a little bit. Just a little bit at a time. You. Grab you, bring it out a little bit more. And now the next two. And maybe a little bit, no, because now we're popping out the top almost anyway. Okay, yeah, because this here, this seam in the middle, that's kind of what I'm looking at to gauge exactly where the skull and the snout intersect. And that's actually not the worst guide for the interface, kind of where the eyes go, because we're starting on these little, you can see the seam right here on the mouse. We're starting to get these little eye pockets, which is not, kind of serendipitous. I wasn't planning on that. Okay, next order of business. Let's shorten up the front of the snout and then see how that changes what we think about things. So I think for starters, let's definitely bring the bottom up. Let's bring all of the bottom up. And then we'll just kind of bring the rest one segment at a time. Oops. I'm sure there are much more efficient ways to be doing this. And actually, while we're at it, let's take these little mouth shapes and just move them out of the way. All of the mouth shapes. Even this one. And you know what? Maybe even the nose can go right there. Okay, back to the muzz. And yeah, all of this really needs to go in. So let's take like all of this, and these two, and maybe even these two. And let's grab them and move them in the Y direction, kind of shorten that snoot. And then I don't like how this is kind of starting to kink here. So let's leave behind these two. What do we want to move? Let's move this kind of up just to keep that line a little straighter. And then let's move this outermost grab and in the Y direction. which from here is left and right. Oof, that's a little much. Yeah, that's a little much. Oh, because I accidentally grabbed that is the problem. This is fine. Grab in the Y. Okay. Okay, maybe looking a little bit better. Still need to bring in, I guess, straighten up some of these lines first. Something just happened. I think I accidentally pressed H, which I do. Yeah, just straighten up these lines a little bit to make things probably a little smoother at the end of the day. Or at least a little bit less messy to actually add things back. And here, we can give us kind of a little bit of roundage to the snoot. Okay. Yeah, how's that starting to look? That's not too bad. Trying to think. Let's grab this guy first. Is this looking a cat looking forward, or is this a cat looking slightly down? Because if it's slightly down, we're going to want to kind of do a this or this. What should be forward? Because like that would be the wrong way. Maybe like this. Yeah, this feels more like a forward-looking direction here, which kind of means, yeah, is it like this? I think we scale this up a little bit again. So if we had the forehead there with the back, diddly. I'm sure there's got to be a better way to do this than just kind of going with vibes. Maybe that's a little bit too much of a rotation. Yeah, because that's definitely too much. Yeah, maybe something like this looks forward. Okay, let's line it up here. Watch this just lines up exactly to how we had it before. Here. So the top of the head and the back of the head would be like this, but that's a little bit too much. Do we line up with the ears maybe? No, I suppose we should really just line up with the eyes, huh? So let's go here. I think we take a little bit more off the top of the noggin. So just bring this down a little bit. Bring this down a little bit. Oh, where are we? Here we are. Okay, not bad. Might have to change the ears up somewhat to compensate for that, but for now, that's okay. For now, it is decent. Okay, do we want... Yeah, so the snoot is already almost poking through there, isn't it? So let's move this forehead bit forward a little bit. Yeah, Chelsea, it's finally the stream that I was threatening all these weeks. So what I've got is here. This is a mostly profile picture of my cat, and I'm trying to use it to get the little muzzle proportions right. Because if you remember, or actually you don't even need to remember, because you can just look at it. The current muzzle is very barrel shaped. So imagine this muzzle, but like kind of longer and more cylindrical. So what I'm trying to do is just make it a little bit more feline. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of getting the eye positions approximately lined up, and then we'll go with the muzzle from there. And let's use these 2 points. Yeah, look at that. There we are. Basically, what I'm trying to do with this profile is just match the silhouette, and then, it's going to make things look weird from the front, but we can fix that in post, as they say. Yeah, something like this, right? You can go kind of up. You probably come along. You can go maybe out a little bit, and you can go maybe out a little bit more. And then maybe a tiny bit more chin. Where's the chin? Okay, maybe these two are the chin. Are these two the chin? No, these three are the chin. Okay. So we'll move these out maybe just a smidge. And then maybe this can go out a little bit. Okay, so from profile, this is the, there are two different views, Chelsea. I don't know how familiar you are with Blender, but you can move around and this is like a camera. So things that are closer will be bigger and things that are farther will be smaller. Or there are some numpad shortcuts. So if I press, for example, 3 on the numpad, it snaps to the profile view, but it's like from infinite distance. So the farther away or closer something is, it's always going to be the same size. It's like if you just drew everything down on a piece of paper. And so that's what I'm using to not have to worry about where the camera is positioned. Although, is this a little bit too much out here? I think it might be. Yeah, something like that, right? Then maybe out. And then maybe this comes down some. And maybe, yeah, this is okay. Yeah, basically all you need to know is there are two main camera modes that I'll be using. One is this, so I can basically snap to a bunch of these different picture, like orientations, just with different buttons on the number pad. And this is just, I'm pressing middle mouse button, I'm just panning the mouse around, and this is like, this is what it would look like when you're looking at the model or rendering it. So that's just kind of the secondary thing. Okay, so the second thing is the front. And for the front, let me actually move all of these things, the mouth shapes. Here, let me move these to the side. So just somewhere over there. Okay. And now I wish I had thought to take a picture of this cat from the front, but I think I have a couple of, just in a different tab, I've got kind of a cat face. So the way the cat face works is there's like kind of like a nose triangle here, and then like two little top lip bumps on either side, and then the bottom of the jaw. So normally, and I guess we can sort of see that here, we've got the two little bumps and then the bottom of the jaw. Normally what you would do if you were doing, I guess, like a total 3D muzzle is you would model like the bottom of the jaw and the top of the jaw separate. That would be, oops, and that would just be complicated. And so, as a result, um, because we don't want to deal with complicated things, I think we'll just try to get the top of the nose and that kind of like puffy upper part correct. Oops, that's not, that's the neck. And I think what we're going to do that is by moving this maybe down a little bit. Make sure we're not messing up the profile view as we do it. So we'll have to sort of compensate. Actually, that's not bad because we also get a little bit of that nose bump. Whoops, did I do numpad? No. Oh, because I was already in that mode, obviously. Yuchi, what are you doing? Okay. Yeah, so we got kind of like a nose thing going on. I think what we'll do is actually, no, one thing at a time. So you can kind of see the wireframe that is more or less dragging the mesh to the different, or basically the final locations for the mesh. And I think what we'll do is we'll maybe pinch in the bottom a little bit to give us something of that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? That sort of like jaw, like bottom chin sort of a feeling. And I'm looking for this. Okay, so let's do, actually, do we even want to do that? Or do we just kind of want to pinch in the sides? Yeah, because if you see from the top, we can kind of see the jaw right now because it used to be very cylindrical. It's doing this kind of like very round bump sort of thing. And what I think we actually want is if we look from the top and bring these things out, we want things to kind of come in more. Let me see if I can. No. Where is OBS? It's here. We want things to kind of sort of come in to a hands, two hands. Come into a kind of like a triangle. Like this. Like this. No. Show both my hands. Like this, like a triangle, instead of a rounded bit. So to do that, what we can do is grab this along here. So we'll bring the top part out and we'll bring the rest of it in a little bit. Just a little bit. And maybe to give it kind of a flat, we'll do too flat on that side. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting there, I think. I think we're getting there. Actually, you know what? Maybe let's bring how's the chin looking? Maybe the chin needs to come, I'm not sure if the chin needs to come up or down. I guess a little bit up. A little bit up. Okay, chin's fine, I think. But tell me, Chelsea, does this look maybe, imagine it has like an actual mouth. Does this look maybe a little bit more feline? If we do, oh no, it's kind of hard to see. No, I don't think we're quite there yet. I feel like we're not quite there yet. Back to the slightly invisible mode. What is off? What is feeling off? I think, can we tell from the top view? I think the problem, yeah, it needs to taper it a bit more. I think I agree. I think the front is still a little bit too rounded or blunt. Yeah, Chelsea, I think I'm in complete agreement with you on that front. Oops, that's the skull. So let's see, how do we do that exactly? I think what we do is, let's go to the top view. And this is, top view is a little bit disorienting. I think what we need to do is we need to bring, yeah, I'll bring this, the part that's near the jaw, let's bring that out a little bit more. And let's bring what is near in a little bit more. Not that much. A little bit at a time. And let's also do this upper, because right now there are 1, 2, 3, 4 levels to, the jaw. And I think some of them need to go in, some of them need to go out. Let's bring the lower ones in a little bit. And maybe the middle one comes in a little bit too. I think the top ones maybe go out a little bit to give some of that puffiness, that sort of like upper cheek puff. And I think we're closer, maybe not quite there. What if, I think I know the main issue that I'm having right now. I think we bring the middle, not X, grab Y. We bring the middle out just a smidge, and we'll bring the sides and maybe this and this. And we'll bring these guys in, just like that. Just a tiny little smidge. And let's see from the side. Side is still okay. Maybe we bring this top bit. Oops. So Blender has a huge, gigantic amount of hotkeys. The G hotkey is grab. That's what I press G and I move things around if they're highlighted. But right next to G on the keyboard is H, which is the hide hotkey. The number of times I've accidentally pressed that is outrageous. But a Control Z will fix it. Okay, grab and bring that maybe. No, I don't want to bring it too far in. Let's just bring these two in first. And let's bring these two up some. And maybe even this one up a little bit more. Just to have that little bump for the nose, I think. Yeah. Okay, so the nose is going to be bumped out a little bit. And let's move this middle point, move that in a little bit. And maybe even modify this one somewhat. Maybe up a little bit. Z. No, maybe this bottom one comes out a little bit. Maybe you go in a little bit more even. Because what I'm trying to do with moving this point in is make a little bit of a sort of flat spot for the mouth and a suggestion of where the lower jaw is. I think this might be a little bit much. Yeah, the sides need to squeeze in. I think I definitely agree, especially the sides here. But you know what actually I think needs to happen? So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to make another line of points right below here. So can I do Control, is it R? Yeah, here. So if we add here, that adds a loop, basically a loop of intersecting points. And what happens if we take these two here, so basically that new loop and the one below it, and what if we bring those in? Pinch these in some. Gengar, welcome. We're doing something crazy. And actually, you know what? Maybe everything just comes in a little bit more. Yeah, maybe just everything comes in a little bit more. No, we want to grab in the X direction, kind of like this. So I don't know if you remember from weeks and weeks ago when I threatened to change the muzzle up a little bit. So what I've got is I've got this. Nope. Here, no. I've got this beautiful picture of my cat that I took, and we're using it to kind of change the barrelness of the muzzle. Oh, and this. Hold on. See this little weird. I've done something strange here. We need to Control Z until this goes away. Here. We can always, there we go. Okay. So I must have added a loop or something. Yeah, basically this is going to be I wouldn't subject you guys to making a new thumbnail. Drink some of that leaf juice. Okay, but I still think maybe from the top view, I think the taper is maybe not enough. So let's grab all of these side ones again. All of the side ones. And hold on, what are you? Where is this dot from? We need to Control Z until that dot goes away. Oh God. Z top. Actually, I feel like this is too much Control Z. Yeah, this is too much Control Z. We'll go back. Go back. Okay. And I think we can just maybe delete this. Yeah, and delete vertex. Okay. Because I'm not super familiar with Blender, but from your scenery, hold on. My brain is frying right now. With Blender, if you've got these sort of like extra vertices or dots floating around, it can cause problems, more or less. How old is that specimen? I actually don't know how old the cat is because I acquired him from, well, he just appeared one day. From what you've seen on your cats, your snoots from the top view are almost hourglass shapes. Almost hourglass shapes. Yeah, so maybe we pinch in. So just to exaggerate, suppose we pinch this in substantially more. Actually, let's pinch both of these in. So let's pinch these in crazy. Let's do a little bit of poofiness here. And maybe we even bring this in just a lot. Yeah, something like this, right? Because there's that little puffy little cheek bit, the little upper cheek bit where the whiskers come out. Are cats' eyes covered by glasses, or are they that big because it looks weird when you look at your cats from the side? Well, they've got that whole, I don't know what you call it, but the lens on the eye is pretty big in a cat, at least relative to a human, I think. But they're not covered by glass. It's by some, I don't know, something. Yeah, you know what? Assuming that this sort of like hourglassy shape is kind of what we're looking for, I kind of feel like the problem right now is maybe the bottom middle of the jaw or the bottom sides of the jaw. Okay, so let's undo some of this. I feel like I've made, yeah, here we go. Okay, until this dot disappears. Okay, so now I think what we're going to do, yeah, let's bring the bottom of the jaw in a little bit. I think that will help us, which is going to be these points. Yeah, sometimes you have to be super just precise about how you do things. Oops. In Blender, and it's kind of annoying. You have an urge to run on a pool of cornstarch mud. Ah, yes, non-Newtonian fluids. They can definitely be fun. Let's just make this line a little bit more along the line. Okay, this is feeling, it's looking a little bit cleaner. I think it's feeling a little bit nicer, but we're still a little bit, we need a little bit of poofiness like here and here. So let's move you maybe to the out a little bit. And what if we move it up a little bit too? And not wireframe. This one. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. You just had a horrible joke run through your mind. Well, you know what? I can't stop you from typing it. No, this feels like a bit too much. Control Z, Control Z. Let's see. So compare to cat. Hmm. Hmm. I think we're still maybe not pointy enough. Top view. What if we took just like everything here on like the right side? Like all this stuff. How do you folks even know the basics of Blender, let alone model humanoids? Tutorials is the answer. Tutorials. So what if we just grab all of this and bring it backwards? Ooh. Ooh, I feel like there's something to this. Yeah, YouTube University. University Tube. Yeah, hold on. Grab in the Y direction. Yeah, why do I feel like there's something to just kind of going a little bit crazy doing this? Maybe not all at once. Okay, how are we from the side? We're losing a little bit of the frontage. But what we can do there then is maybe take the front here and maybe these guys too. Grab Y direction. Just bring those out a smidge. Actually, you know what? Bring all these guys out. Just a smidge. Just that. And then what do we have? Yeah, I feel like this is getting maybe a little bit better because you can kind of get a little bit of a hint where the mouth can go here. And yeah, this is we're getting a tiny little bit of the bumpage where the little whiskers come out. Yes. Yes. Okay, next order of business. Let's go back to the skull and let's try to put some like a little bit more geometry where the eyes go. YouTube made it so you need 20 million views or more than 1,000 subs to get paid. Isn't it 20 million views on shorts? I think it's substantially less if you use unshorts. It's like some number of thousand hours, I think. But yeah, let's just say that it's not a good day for anyone trying to just, make it on shorts alone, unless you have your pulse on the brain rot, the TikTok 15-second brain rot stuff. Okay. Okay, here's what we do. What we're going to do is we're going to add, I think, another loop here. Oh, can we mirror this? I would really enjoy mirroring this and doing both of these loops at the same time. But I think we're just going to have to do it by default like that and like that. Okay, perfect. They recognized each other. Most faces in anime are based on how a cat kitten's face is shaped. That's definitely true, especially if you look at 90s animes. Even the humans have like some seriously pronounced snouts, like very pronounced snouts from the side. And one, it may be true that they are literally designed on cats and kittens because it looks cute. But two, when I first originally noticed this phenomenon, I thought it was just to make it much easier to consistently draw the nose to mouth interface. Because can you imagine from frame to frame how hard it would be to get the exact nose bump correct every time? It would be a nightmare. Definitely much harder geometry to nail. Okay, how are we doing from the side? I feel like this snoot bit came a little bit too far forward. Like this bit. So can we fix that? Maybe with these three. No, maybe with all of these. Yeah, right about like that. Wait, nightmare, you did it on purpose. What nightmare are we talking about? I feel like I didn't do anything on purpose by accident, I swear. I swear it. Oh, you mean you made it look like a cat on purpose? Yeah, that would make sense. Oh, moved them forward on purpose. Oh, that's right. So I did move them forward on purpose. I just wasn't thinking that it would sort of change the silhouette at the same time. But you know what? Artistic license. I guess we can have a slightly longer snoot. Maybe not that long. This. And you can go like that. You can go here. And maybe, you know what? Maybe this comes more of like a straight line here. And we just kind of change this line a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's all coming together. Oh no. Oh wait. It's kind of like, are cats real? No, they're complex, which means they're partially imaginary. Okay, so I like how the top is giving a little bit of a taper, but I feel like the front is still somewhat too blunt. And perhaps that's because the bottom. Yeah, here, hold on, let's think. So the puffy part of the snoot is like here. It's kind of where the whiskers are, which should be something like here-ish, which means that kind of like these things should be brought out a little bit. So from the top, it's like this. And if we bring these out, like that. And then that means this line and this line, I think, should go in a little bit. Wait, no. Did I just select too many things? I did select too many things. The bottom jaw is a lot more angular compared to where the whiskers are. Yeah, that is what I'm beginning to understand. So the first approximation is we're going to grab this whole bottom part of the jaw here, and let's bring this in, kind of like that. And maybe we even, I don't know how to unselect things, so we'll just do this. Maybe this even more. And I think let's bring this bottom line just a tiny bit more. Yeah, something like this maybe. Hmm. And suppose we, where is it? Which one of these? Yeah. Suppose we approximately put this guy back on here. Uh, just something like this. Just to see if we can kind of get a feel for what's going on here. That's too high, probably. Wait, hold on. Every popular YouTuber is becoming a predator? I better not become popular then. But to be honest, that's news to me. I don't exactly keep up with the drama, at least as far as YouTube is concerned. Okay. You know what? You see how there's kind of a very clear connection between the skull and the snout. I feel like if we flare out the jaw here and make this connection a little bit smoother, I think that will go a ways to helping us out. Just move this back. I don't know how new Yuchi will look. Perhaps I feel like there's an accidental enter there. Another big problem is cats' heads aren't like our heads. Oh, how new Yuchi will look like. Yeah, but so the main thing I'm looking for is like here. You see the barrelness of this snoot? It's a little bit too barrely for my aristocratic tastes. And really the main goal is just work a little bit on the jaw here and maybe just a tiny bit on the head shape. Okay, let's go back to our see-through view. Yeah, cat heads aren't like ours. Spines at the bottom of the skull, cats are more at the back. Yeah, so the face is going to look weird. So yeah, see, I've got the the spine kind of going on back there, more or less, more or less. I think here you see how there's this hard seam here. Let's move that seam out a little bit, and we can do that by grabbing, I think, probably these. Yeah, we'll grab these, bring them kind of out in this direction. We'll also grab these, bring them out a little bit. Yeah, this looks a little bit more jawy, right? And to give us a little bit more of a defined nose bridge, let's take this guy, move it in a little bit, and let's take these two and just move them in the tiniest bit. I grabbed the wrong ones. I want to grab this one, and I want to grab this one. Yeah, the cheeks is, yeah, so from top view, now we're dealing with something like this. You had a cat that had perfectly squishable cheeks. Yes. Cheeks are very nice. Oh, no, that I did hear. But doesn't that kind of work So think about it this way. When you break a bone and your bone sort of knits back together, it will knit back together with effectively the bone equivalent of scar tissue. So can't you effectively give yourself a tumor by repeatedly forcing your bones to go into that sort of regrow mode? I feel like that's a thing. Oh, you mean grows back tougher? I thought you were talking about people like giving them, I don't know, more pronounced jaws. Um, Smashing it with a hammer. Does this does this snout look too pointy to anyone else? I feel like it looks a tiny bit too pointy, like just in the front. Yeah, hold on. We're getting a kind of a strange geometry in the front here. Hmm. You know what I think we'll do? Just because I'm beginning to come around to maybe the head shapes are not one to one. What would happen if we just took this whole front of the snoot and just brought it out just a tiny bit? Just about yay. What does that look like? Will Curious George return in Avengers Doomsday? I don't care about Curious George. I want Harambe to return in Avengers Doomsday. That's the timeline retcon I want to hear. Okay, you know what? I think the more that I look at this, the more I'm starting to be pretty okay with it. Maybe bring this guy in a tiny bit. Yeah, reset the timeline, bring back Harambe. I agree with that statement. I definitely agree. Okay, what about these two? What if we take these and we just push them in a tiny bit? That's more than a tiny bit. And no, I feel like we kind of need a sort of chonky nose bridge. But do we need it to be this chonky? I don't think so. Like this. Bring that in a tiny amount. A much more active viewer. You missed a whole two streams. Well, if you missed two streams, those would have been the Darkwalker streams. And let's just say that the Darkwalker streams ended with a honk, one way or another. Oh, you had a conversation about CERN and timelines. CERN and timelines in the Steins Gate sense, or in the is it possible that CERN created a wormhole when they put the LHC online? Let's just maybe clean this geometry up. I like for the nodes to be in the same kind of in nice straight lines because they're easier to deal with. So what are we doing after this? I was thinking I'm of two minds of what to do after this. One option is to take a look at Project Zomboid. That's something that someone suggested a while back. Must stream Subnautica. That's definitely an option. It is a similar. You know what? When I kept describing The Long Dark as one of those Ark/Rust games, I kept forgetting to say that Subnautica was similar. So yeah, I guess Subnautica is also an option. I have half a mind to actually go back and do the Supergiant Games timeline. You know, Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, Hades, and I guess Hades 2 is the new one. Just because, God, those soundtracks are good. So good. And also those are more close-ended games, that wouldn't take, because when did I start streaming? It must have been sometime in March or April, right? And in that time I have barely been able to do some uh I've barely been able to do some, what's it called? Some surveying in the survival mode, and then what, handful of challenges in the long dark, and it's already what, like 3 or 4 months later. Why do I kind of get the feeling that the bottom of the chin is too high. So here's what we're going to do. I think we're going to grab the skull and we're going to bring this in a little bit. Yeah, you say Project Zomboid since the beginning. Yeah, in Subnautica, you can shoot down a big giant T-Rex octopus creature with an arrow. Well, that would certainly maintain the theme. I feel like, yeah, I think the next thing we want to do is, do I dare bring the chin up a little bit more? Just a tiny bit? I do have Project Zomboid. I've actually played Project Zomboid for probably around an hour. I want to say back in 2014 or 2015. And what I remember is I remember spawning in. I remember going into a house, finding some skill books, reading them, and then dying. And then after that, instead of trying again, I think I played Brutal Legend because that was around the time I played Brutal Legend as well. Uh, hmm, hmm. Something's still feeling off. Something is still feeling a little off. Hold on, let me bring my cat profile up again. Actually, oh, you know what I think the problem is right now with the snout? The sides of the nose are down a little bit to give us a slightly more pronounced nose bridge. So how can we do that easily? I think we're gonna have to add more geometry. So let's add a cut here. Yeah, I think this will help. Okay, so we just add more nodes. So we just added these guys, and I think what we do is these guys come in just a smidge. And, ooh, is that a mistake? No, because what we can do is we'll bring this in, bring this, no, that can't go down. I feel like things are very quickly becoming complicated. Yuchi will return in Avengers Doomsday. Changed a lot. And also, if you do it today, it's not hard download. Week 1 mod gives it, yeah, I remember you mentioned the Week 1 mod, actually. A hellish world on the last day of the... I do remember you mentioned the Week 1 mod, and I actually have already re-downloaded it. I think I did that a couple days ago. Just to see if it would even work on Linux. And it does. You know what I need? I need Yuchi is your fighter in Super Smash Bros. But only Super Smash Bros. Melee. Melee was my jam. Let's see. If I was a little snout, what would I change from this? No, now I'm thinking the bottom here has to be wider. Yeah, the bottom has to be wider. The front needs to be a little bit more flat. Yeah, okay, here's what we do. This is what we do. Watch this. We'll take this and just do a tiny bit of a rotation. Just the slightest of rotations. And then we'll go back, actually. We'll rotate it in place. And maybe put the eye back. It would be a lot easier to do this if you could use spheres as well. Well, in a sense, what we could do is we can add, some kind of sphere, scale it down, move it over, and, do this kind of a thing. But that is a lot of geometry. Look at all these points that we need to make a sphere here. And because here's what I'm planning to do. So after we finish more or less finalizing the snout shape, and I feel like we're close. I feel like we're close, at least for this version. I'm going to try to put the beginnings of the mouth because I think I can change it to be a more not skill, a more flexible mouth in a sense. If you ever did fan mail, first day you're sending your special edition VHS of Shrek. Well, I remember VHSs, but unfortunately, I no longer have a VHS player. Why do people in Marvel hate mutants who aren't labeled as good, but the guy who can turn into a giant raging monster who's a separate personality gets no hate at all? I am not going to pretend to understand Marvel lore. And where is this? Here. Delete. Okay. Yeah, because I feel like we're pretty dang close on that hourglass situation. In fact, I might even have. We'll bring this in a bit. We'll bring this in a bit. We'll bring this out just a tiny bit. We'll also bring this out just a tiny bit. Yeah, look at this. Getting closer, getting ever so closer. Actually, you know what? What if we took all of this and just brought it in a bit? Just a bit. Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. We might have to scale it a little bit because does this snout look too pinched, too thin to anyone? Just overall, compared to say, actually, you know what? I think it's going to save us a lot of trouble. Let's hide everything except for, I guess, let's hide the torso and the stuff that's going to make it hard to see things. So the legs, not the thumbs, shins, tail, pelvis, torso. And G is for glute. Never skip leg day. I clicked the wrong thing. And this. And I guess we should also do the upper arms. Where are the upper arms? If you were an upper arm, where would you be? Actually, it's probably just arm, isn't it? No. Where the heck are the arms? There they are. Okay, this is going to make life a lot easier. I should have done this to start with, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I have? Oh, hey, I remember. I remember all of the primo VHS content that your grandpa has. Why do you need a college degree to go to work at a company where you grill patties and sell burgers to morbidly obese children? You need a college degree because they need to know that you can fry meat because you fried your brain already, and that's proof that you can do the job. Okay, so here's the question. Does the snout look too small? I feel like it might look a tiny bit too small. We compare to our picture here. Suppose we, yes. Do we scale this up a bit? Oh no, I clicked something. There we go. Scale this up a tiny bit. Grab you, maybe like here. No, already. Okay, here, up. This. Okay. So we pinch things in. No, not that. So let's go back here and fix the changes that we made that messed up our silhouette. Because when we do that, I think that should get us a little bit more on the length side of things. You can go up and this will, yeah, this will help with our nose bridge. Yes. It's all coming together. Not that one though. It is all coming together. Chin goes out a little bit, and these go out a tiny bit. Okay. Okay, so I think for now, at least, for now, we can try to work with this. And actually, you know what? Let me see if I can learn something. There should be a way to add, yeah, this. And what if we do draw mode, and then we do surface, offset just a tiny bit, and change the size here. Yeah, messages are usually something like 5 or 10 seconds delayed. Okay, so let's see if we can maybe kind of draw in a little bit of snoot here. So something like this is where the snoot's going to be. Okay, that's a little bit too much offset. Where's the offset button? Yeah, where did it go? Uh-oh, I've lost track of it already. Oh, you sent one earlier and it still hasn't sent. So if that's the case, because this one came through, maybe that one just bugged. Not size. It's not that delayed now. Yeah, I don't. Whether how things are delayed or whether they show up is it's a great mystery to me. We want stroke, the offset here. No, cursor, no. Advanced. Okay, never mind. You know what we can do? G is for, no, S is for stroke. We'll delete this one. We'll just add another one. Grease pencil stroke. Because now, stroke offset, basically nothing because the stroke is fat enough. Okay, so that's fine. Draw mode, surface. Okay. Yeah, so the nose is going to be something like this. And then the mouth, I guess the nose will be a little bit maybe bigger. Not that big. And then we got that little bit that goes down, and then the mouth can be kind of in this area. You know, something like this. But now I think I can figure out how to make it go. I think I can figure out how to make it go around as well. So like over in this area. Okay, and this looks like a reasonable mouth shape, right? You'll say it again since last time didn't. It looks more like a pig than a cat. Yeah. I wonder if that's the ears, some aspect of the ears. Okay, because profile wise, I think we're okay. You know what? What happens though? Object mode. What happens though if we take the top of the forehead and bring that down a little bit? That'd be like all these guys. If you say job, I will give you a hug and then a cookie. I don't understand why those two things would be related. Or maybe you mean Job. What's the picture reference? I'm glad you asked. This is my cute little cat. This is the cat that sometimes stands up in front of the camera. You can see he's actually sitting in front of the monitor right now. That's the monitor behind him. Oops. Okay. And as you can also tell, he's got this tiny little cranium. No thoughts in the cranium. And if we're going to go that aggressively, well, do we want to bring the forehead down that aggressively? I don't think so. I don't think so. It is a pretty cute car. Although I've heard people tell me that they would have preferred it in red with a racing stripe. But I think it's still pretty cute. Okay, we need to bring all this forehead stuff down a little bit now. There we go. Yeah, so I acquired him from the outside, and you know how that works, right? You know, you see there's a cat around, you see the cat is somehow always outside all day and never inside, and you see how the cat kind of goes into different locations. And then you see that when you put a dish down with food, the cat will slowly get closer. So I lured him closer and closer and closer. And then I eventually lured him in the front door. Have I recharged his battery? Not as such. I eventually lured him inside the front door. And then just kind of started feeding him inside. And now he kind of got used to that. This can actually kind of go down. This can go up some because we can match just a little bit here. And then the forehead, these guys can maybe go forward and this guy can go out. And now we match a little bit better. Here. You can go up a little bit more aggressively and you can go back. Okay. Okay, so this, I feel like this nose bridge is looking a little bit better right now. Although I'm getting more of a mouse vibe or a rat vibe. Okay, but to continue the story, basically I just got him used to eating inside. And so now he'll come, I try to keep him inside as much as possible. And I don't remember where this story began, but basically the first night that I kept him inside for the whole night, of course he knows to hop up on the bed and snuggle down. So he's a very snuggly cat, especially when there's a thunderstorm. He needs his emotional support human. How long have I had the creature at this point? So the first time I saw him around the neighborhood was a year ago spring. So basically like a year and a little bit more ago. But since I've started luring him inside, that happened last fall. So I've had him a little bit less than a year. You had a cat that would come to your back door every day. You would feed him, and then he became your second cat, and your first one came from a friend. Yeah, that's how it goes. That is often how it goes. Okay, so let's think though. Yeah, so for example, on Monday, I was also in a bad lightning storm, and that's why the stream randomly ends when we leave and we're walking through Mystery Lake. Is this too much snout? Do we, according to the picture, we should really be bringing the bottom of the neck up just about that much. But that feels like too little snout. I think we need more snout. Storm Striker was electrocuted. Exactly. Exactly. And we don't need this out so much here. And to compensate, it really it's just one thing at a time, you know, putting out fires one thing at a time. You change a little, it messes something else up. You change a little, it messes something else up. Yeah, this feels like it's too high, doesn't it? So maybe if these go down just a smidge, and we'll bring the forehead out. And the front of the forehead is going to be you and you. So you come out. I guess you have to go out some. And you can come out. And so can you. A few days ago, tornado warning. When it was over, your mail car was ducking under your arm. Well, I didn't know that cars came in genders. Or I guess it would be sexes. But I suppose the color could help you distinguish. Okay, so this is looking halfway decent. Yeah, so this is all right. Where is it? Here. Maybe we bring the bottom here down just a touch. Just a touch. And just a touch. Just 3 days ago, you acquired a 41 firearm, a pistol to be exact, and it is very weird, but yet likable and easy. What? What in the heck is a 41 firearm? Oh, 41-year-old firearm. I see. What? I feel like today is the day of the Freudian slips when it comes to typos. But a 41-year-old firearm, what is it, like a J frame or something? I feel like oh no, it's the 80s that were 41 years ago. Yeah, that's about the time that J frames would have been popular, right? Yeah, side view. How are we on the side view? Yeah, this is probably pretty okay. Let me move the, oh, because I wasn't clicking on anything. Yeah. Let's just do a tiny bit more of a bump here. Like Snoot and Snoot. Okay. You can pull the slide, but also the barrel comes up when you load it like a single shot rifle. It's called the Tomcat Beretta. I've heard of that. I thought that was a lot newer. I thought it was one of Beretta's like micro compacts or subcompacts. Maybe they re-released it. Load it like a single shot rifle. Imagine a break action semi-auto handgun. That would be ridiculous. Clarify that my username is the name of the creature in your profile picture. So I don't see your profile picture because of the things that are, the place that I'm looking at the chat is not the same as the stream. But I do remember way back when it was a Gengar. Perhaps it still is. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think we stick with this for the muzzle for now. Except Gengar went extinct. Gengar exists because things went extinct. That's how it works. Now I kind of yeah. No, maybe just a tiny bit out here. I'm definitely too much of a tinkerer when it comes to this. When it comes to these small details. Okay, this is probably fine for the jaw and the nose bridge, right? Yeah. Okay, let's remove this stroke again. And now, what do you guys say? What do you guys say the ears get a little bit bigger? Not very small. A new version, semi-auto, make it semi-auto without pulling the slide, and you open the barrel. Oh, okay. I see. So it's basically you can give it the +1 without having to cycle the barrel. And then you put your magazine in. Okay, I see. I see the idea anyway. Yeah, what say we maybe make the ear a little bit bigger? Or I guess both ears. Just a smidge. Yeah, and then maybe down a little bit. Marvel released new movie posters for old Spider-Man movies to turn them into floating heads. I'm not going to question it. Not going to question it. Now, would you guys say that this still looks moderately cheetah-ish? Or is it too much into hyena territory? I feel like we might be getting into hyena territory. Even if you make a new 3D model, you still really like the way the mouth and the eyes are animated. So I am thinking about changing that Richard, but not changing it so much that it would be unrecognizable. In fact, you might consider it to be the next evolution of that method. You know what? You see this? So in this viewing mode, we're getting a little bit of the shading going on. You see how there are these harsh boundaries here? Let's see if we can just smooth those out a tiny bit. And we can do that by bringing this guy out some, and maybe up some. And I think also bringing the one next to it out some. And then maybe these two also come up and out. Okay, now did that mess things up? Not really. Not really. Evolving from Neanderthal to Homo sapien, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I'm not super enthused about... Let's actually move this camera slightly out of the way. This is the front view. We don't need to worry too much about the bottom of the head, I think, because if we bring the neck back, in is for neck. Well, maybe we do need to do something there. Have I ever made an animation? Not in my life. That sounds extremely difficult. Animating sounds very, very hard. A mind-boggling question no AI used. I have no idea. I have no idea. But basically, what I really did to put all of the different body parts together is the same thing that I did for the head here. You know, I found something that was approximately the shape that I wanted, and then just went until the outlines were just about there. And that was basically following a tutorial that I found on, I think it's called Blocking on YouTube, where a guy basically had like a front view and like a side view of, I think he was doing like Zelda from The Legend of Zelda. So I pretty much just followed that tutorial to make all of this. So to answer your question, no, I didn't ask, ChatGPT or Claude, please make me a model that has these features. A perverse form of renewal, an irony drenched death thrive that licks wounds and thrives on the fever dream of its own destruction. Much like that comment. Not as hard as it seems. You animate SFM. It's not hard if you want to make animations, but if you want to make Pixar level animations, it's hard but not impossible at all. Yeah, Pixar is another thing. It's definitely another thing. And yeah, this looks weird with the, but I think we need to bring the bottom of the chin up just a little bit. Yeah. Honestly, miniatures are your thing. You know, I know about miniatures, but I feel like I would never have the patience to paint them all. And let's bring this one down just to get this nice line of nodes here, as opposed to having that random bump. Okay, and now we'll go back to the partially see-through mode. And we can bring all of these down a little bit. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. Okay. Okay, so that looks good for the bottom, except these two should come down somewhat too. To get a little bit of that jawbone, right? Because the bottom of your jaw, it's kind of flat, right? So we'll bring these, actually all four of these down and out some. Give us a little bit of a flat jawbone that goes out. Yeah, let's widen out the jawbone. Oops. Don't delete. GZ, no, GX. GX. Okay. Ah, I think a lot of, you see how there's like a weird kind of pinching happening here? I think a lot of problems will get resolved if we resolve that pinch. And I think we can resolve that pinch by bringing these out and down. Yeah, we're still not too bad on our front view. Maybe bring this out and maybe down just a smidge. Maybe bring this, not that, grab X, grab Z, and grab U just Z a little bit. Okay. I keep saying it's all coming together, but it feels like it's all coming together. It is a little bit peculiar for someone younger to be falling asleep first. Unless we're talking about, I suppose if it's an infant, it makes sense for the infant to fall asleep first. Maybe this comes out. Okay, now I know that I could poke around with this forever and ever and ever. So let's make the back of the head a little bigger. Yeah, as if it doesn't, if it, blah, 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 as if it's not big enough. Oops, don't hide. Make it even bigger. Even bigger. This looks right. This is reminding me of Marge Simpson. People who put their kids to bed at 7 confuse me. Yeah, yeah, unless they're, I could see putting them to bed at 7 until they're maybe 5 years old. Because even at those young ages, I feel like they do need the sleep. And let's check the shading. Uh, it could be a little bit of a smoother transition. I think we achieve that by, yeah, we're going to have to, I think, mess around here with the skull. Alt middle click. Okay, so we'll take this guy, we'll bring it out. No, that doesn't help. Is it this guy that needs to come out? Yeah, I think so. So that goes out, and then this goes in. No, not hide. That's another aspect. If you want some peace and quiet. Hmm. Yes. Okay, this is all. Yes. You see, in order to make this transition a little bit more gentle, I have to mess around with what's going on in the head. And messing around with what's going on in the head messes around with what's going on with the ears. And it generally changes the contour of the head more broadly. So it's like every little bit changes something. I think we bring this back out. This maybe goes, not this, just this. Just a little bit. And I guess this transition isn't so important. Probably, right? Get in trouble as a 7-year-old when you had to go to bed, right when you got. Something tells me that Gengar was not having perhaps the most untraumatic of childhoods. Here. what do we want to do here? Let's bring this eye bit in a little bit. Yeah. So the eye comes in. Oh, and look at that. We have practically like a little bit of a nose bridge going on. Yes. Frost has decided that you're a perfect cuddle buddy. Well, that sounds like a cause for celebration, if you ask me. Let's make the forehead a little bit less crazy. Just a smidge. And then snout-wise, we can bring this guy back in a little bit. This guy back in. Oh no, I accidentally duplicated it. I didn't accidentally do that over here, did I? I think it should be fine, right? Let's check. Are there any weird shading bumps? I'll know if something's messed up. I think we're okay. One of the problems with there being so many hotkeys shortcuts with the blender is if you accidentally press a button, something unexpected might happen and you might not know that you've done it at the time. Okay, so bring you back. G, Y. Maybe some more. He's the kitty that watches the streams with you. He knows the name and he hops up on the lap. Who knows? Maybe in feline, Yuchi means something like, I don't know, nap time. It would make sense. It would make sense. Okay, you know what? Yeah, the ears are in a good spot. I think, though, as was suggested, maybe we try to pull the top or the back of the skull in just a tiny bit. Just a smidge. And maybe this one too. Another message has glitched and refuses to send. Well, who knows? Who knows? Maybe YouTube has some kind of something. Okay. Okay. I think let's go with this for a snoot. Oh, it's sent delayed. Let's go with this mostly for a snoot. Actually, hold on. I feel like there's something strange about these here, but I guess not. I'm looking at all these squares and I was expecting there to be a line that continues down here, but there's not. Oh, if it's identical timing, perhaps that would be strange design, but perhaps. Yeah. Why? How does this? I don't understand how there are just these three bumps up here or what they correspond to. I'm going to have to figure that out sometime later. How long have I been live? It's probably been, I don't know, an hour and a half maybe. It hasn't been that long. It has not been too long. Okay. Yeah. Just the jank. This transition is bothering me. What if we just if I were to smooth this out, how would I do it? Probably not by this. I suppose instead, we'll try one more thing. And that's going to be Hold on. What do you... Why is there a dotted line here? What is this? Oh, there are two dotted lines. It must be something. Let's try to bring these guys. If I bring these out, yeah, that kind of does it, doesn't it? Yeah, somewhat. Okay. This should be, yeah, this is more gentle. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So for now, let's call that the snoot. And let's see if I can figure out how exactly to do this, this nose. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a mesh plane. And that should give us, yeah. So this guy, bring it up here so we can work with it. We'll rotate it around the x-axis by 90 degrees. And we need to add a material. So we'll do, my understanding is that materials are the way that you give things colors. I have a bad feeling. Okay. Whew. I thought Blender had frozen. Okay, so material, the base color is going to be black. Why do parents get so aggressive towards you when they have guests? It's probably because they're stressed. They're probably very stressed. Yuchi with World War II pilot outfit who flies the Mitsubishi Kai 46-3 Kai Army Type 1 Command Recon aircraft. Well, all I know from that era is the Zero. And I suppose assorted Mustangs. Okay, value 0 should be fine, right? Okay, so that's there. Surface, blah, blah, blah. Gecko, welcome. Welcome. We are doing, oh, accidentally hit it. We're doing terrible things to the Yuchi face. We're changing the muzzle shape just a little bit. Okay, so what we want to do here is bring it out some, bring it down some. No, grab Y, grab Z, scale it some more, and put it right about there. Right about there. Okay, and so now we want to make an approximately nose-shaped shape. And noses are something like a triangle, right? So what we can do is the model's, yeah, the model's supposed to be zoomed in just so I don't cover up quite so much stuff on the side, because there's actually some information down in this direction that, who knows, maybe people would enjoy seeing, because I will probably be clicking in that area eventually. Okay, so let's get this a little bit closer to the nose area. See you having a Bengal or serval pattern sometime in the future. Well, let me tell you, one of these days, around the same time that I threatened doing a stream where we did this remuzzling, I also threatened to do a stream where we would do a little bit of a retexturing too. It's still kind of big, so we'll shrink it down a little bit more. And okay, so we need to add shapes. So we're going to right click. We're going to, I was hoping there would be an option to subdivide. I guess we can just add, no, edit mode. That's why we can't. Subdivide. Click. And let's do some loop cuts. We'll do one on the top and one on the bottom like this. Okay, so now we have, it's actually kind of hard to see on account of the color. Why does this? Okay, so to approximately triangulate things, first we do X symmetry. And now we can do grab U in the X. We can do like this, and like this, and like this, and like this. Oops. Probably want to be here, because I want these things to be all in the same plane. Yeah, it does look very, very small here, but when we go out of this orthographic mode, it's a little bit more to scale. Okay, like you put X. And this is probably an okay size for starters, right? No, maybe a little bit bigger. Scale you. Yeah, something like this. I think we want a little bit. Hold on, let me bring up my reference in the other tab over here. Which tab? This tab. Okay, this isn't too far off, but it does go down to a little bit more of a point. Oops. Just a little bit more of a point. What did I just do? GX. And no, not XG, GX. And then maybe a little bit more up here. And then a bit bigger because it goes up GZ and maybe a little bit more. Okay, so now what we can do is there are a metric buttload of things that you can do to an object. And the way you do that is you add modifiers to them. And one of the modifiers, which is kind of how I did the eyes, if I remember, is called no, not subit, it is shrink wrap. And shrink wrap does, as you can imagine, it takes the thing that is selected and tries to wrap it on top of some other thing. And so our target is going to be the muzzle. And we need to do a little bit of an offset because otherwise it would be exactly inside the muzzle. So 0.01 offset, but we need a little bit more, or we could also add a subdivision surface. Subdivision surfaces are for making things look more smooth. And we'll do 2 and 2. Speaking of which, if we select this, we can see we also have a subdivision surface here. And we probably want these to be the same. So we'll have a smooth muzzle with a smooth head, render, not you, 3. Smooth, smooth, smooth. And I guess we could do the ears too. That was a 2, wasn't it? I want a 3. And a 3. Okay. So, nose-wise, this shape doesn't feel right. It also needs a little bit more of an offset. Whoops. I don't know what that did. Okay. Yeah, this looks, one, not centered. So where is so here's this is selected, and we can clear the, what is it? Rotate, scale, grab. Clear the grab, and now it should be all the way down there. We can grab and bring it up until we are here and centered. Okay. Grab, and now we'll bring it out. That's not, which way? Here it is. Yeah, something like that. Oh ho, you got the job you were hoping for. Well, congratulations. Good things are happening today on more than one front, apparently. Yeah, we can move this back here until it's very close to the thing we want to smack it onto. So it sounds like things are moving up, just like this nose is about to be moving up. Or at least hopefully that's a good thing. And snap mode, we want outside? No, I don't think we want outside. Yeah, we probably on outside surface, don't we? Yeah, outside surface sounds like it's the better thing. Because see, now we have a little bit of a gap here. Yeah, so we can turn the offset down. Not that far down. Not that far. I guess we can't turn the offset down. Never mind. Is there a better project? I was hoping there would be a better method here. Nearest vertex? No. Target normal? I think that is closer, probably. Oh, you know what? Do we want subdivision before shrink wrap? Yes, that's better, I think. We'll do 3 and 3, which is the same. So hopefully the job that you were hoping for is something that you were, really hoping for, and not just something you're like, please give me the job. I need something to do with my life. But if good things are good, then what can you say? Perhaps a celebration with husband is in order. That sounds like a thing that should be happening right about now. Whoops. I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. We can add it back. Can you tell that I'm not super good at Blender? I know, it's a shock. Okay, we're back to the muzzle. On surface, no, outside surface. We want target normal, and we want small 0.001 meter. Yeah, that looks good, right? Maybe it needs to be a little bit bigger. It is hard to get things to wrap around properly. In fact, I wonder. He's napping. You're both down with migraines so bad that everything hurts. Celebrations will happen, but not right now. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Speaking of celebrations and completely unrelated topics, this is the trouble that I was thinking that I was going to have with the mouth. You see how the orange here, that sort of like orange shape, this is the original default unmodified mesh that I'm working with. And why is there a little circle here, a vertex? Let's delete that vertex. Oh, is this, wait, hold on, what is this? What is this little guy? What are you? I don't know what this little dot is. Let me just control Z until it goes away and we'll see what it is. It's always been there, huh? So I think it will allow you to do textures. I guess that's just the original location for whatever this is. I hope. But yeah, so basically, yes, I believe that the materials, in addition to just having base colors, you can probably add more textures and things. And also with the pencil, like we did before, I think it is possible to draw things, but that's neither here nor there. However, however, that's quite complicated because you can imagine when we have the whole body up, there's a question of how would you take a texture and apply it to the body? And there's a thing, I think it's called UV mapping or something, which basically turns all of the surfaces of the body into like a square that you can draw on, and it will draw directly onto the corresponding part in the body. That I don't know how to do yet. I'm going to have to look at some more tutorials. But I'm planning, because I'm planning for the mouth to still be just kind of black. I think that what we can do here is we'll add another couple of loops here. I think that we can manually, say, take these vertices and move them around and kind of, instead of having the original shape be flat, we can have the original shape be somewhat curved. So if we go to the top view, we just kind of, take these and move them just so that they're kind of, approximately following the snout. Then we have a much sort of larger nose from what should be pretty much the same shape here of the thing. Okay, so let's just undo these so we can do it a little bit more carefully. Okay, yes. Yes. Or yeah, this is about where a nose should be, right? It just should be bigger. Yeah, first let's make it a little bit wider. So grab you guys and put you guys out in the X directions. And yeah, and then I think we just wrap from the top. Let's take this guy all the way out here and move it closer. Let's take its, just these two neighbors. Move that closer. And get the next neighbor. Move that in a little bit. And I guess it's these two next. Although I suppose the most important ones to grab are the farthest out ones. We've already got those. Oops. I feel like something terrible just happened. What did I just do? Grab Y. Okay, there we are. Now let's just make sure these aren't all sort of knotted up and tangled. Green screen. Who green screens? Because that's somewhat concerning. Let me check. Try refreshing maybe? I've got the stream up on my end, and it looks okay, moderately. And that's on YouTube and inside the streaming software. Okay, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, things resolve, because I'm not sure what else I could do on my end. Bring these a little bit closer. Oh, you know what? We can also bring these in, can't we? Oh, your phone freaked out. I see. Ah, this is what we needed. Get this wraparound, because the snoot is a little bit on top, see? Well, I guess for a little kitty cat, it's less on top. But for a chi, it is a little bit on top. So we can wrap this guy just a little bit more. And that doesn't even do anything. Can we get this closer? I feel like we can get this closer, right? We got that nice gap there. So back to our modifiers. And we want even closer. You better now? Still. Okay, that's still too much. And that's still too much. Why do you have such a gap over here then? Muzzle? What if we do more on the muzzle? No, that doesn't help at all. Well, bringing this out doesn't, well, guess it helps a little bit. I guess it does help a little bit. Oh, maybe project is better. Yeah, I think project is better as opposed to nearest surface point. Okay. Can we change the offset? No, that doesn't do anything. Why doesn't that do anything? Oh, is it this? Subdivision levels? See, this is me learning on the fly. On surface, outside surface. Nearest vertex? No, that's nearest vertex is definitely not what we want. Normal? Probably not, right? Well, actually, normal might do it. Yeah, normal just might do it. What if we do 0.002? No, not quite. You see, these are the pain points. Because why doesn't it just work? It knows what I want. It knows what I want. Okay, so this project, limit, subdivision. 1, 2, 3. Face, coal, front, back, off, muzzle, auxiliary. No, let's just go target normal and just get as close as we can get. Surely we won't have to see the little nose from behind. Unless, hold on. I think I just had a brain blast. There is another modifier to add here. And what was it called? It's called extrusion. No. Hold on. I need to look this up. Blender modifier, add thickness. Solidify. That's it. If we add a solidify modifier, that's going to give the snoot a little bit of thickness. See how we have a little bit of an edge here. Whereas if we don't have it, can I hide? Yeah, if we don't have it, there's no thickness. What we can do is make the thickness. Ah. So add the offset so we're no longer clipping. And now with the solidify modifier, we can change this so that we don't have some kind of a weird gap due to, I guess, it having trouble completely sticking on there. And I guess it also makes sense because the snoot is a little bit thick, isn't it? Okay, so now the question is, what do we say about the snoot here? Is this a big enough snoot, or do we need bigger? And the snoot also might give us an idea of what we can do to make the muzzle look a bit better. For example, we bring this guy out more. Yeah, big enough snoot, and then we can make it a little bit flatter, because a snoot should be pretty flat, right? So what if we bring these out a little bit more? Maybe this guy too. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this looks like it's all coming together. Okay, and now we're going to do something similar, except mouth-wise. And this is going to be the one where we'll have to see how well it works. I make no promises. I only make disclaimers. Okay, so we want to add, first off, let's save. Add another mesh, a plane, which is down here. Go to material, and you have returned. You're a dragoon. You're a zealot that has died and has come back, floating in a vat of Bacta fluid in the middle of a cybernetic warrior. What did we give a name to that black color over here? We just called it material. Let's call it black. Okay, which maybe means we can use the same material here. Okay, rotate X 90. Grab it up in the Z and grab it in the Y. And then shrink it down. Oops. Not invert, just shrink it down. Okay. GX, no, we want it to stay centered. GZ, grab in the Z direction. Okay, so what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to use this. I'm going to extend it in the horizontal directions. I'm going to wrap it around to make the mouth. That is how I'm planning on doing it. And from there, if you see back in the nose, actually, you know what? Let's just do it. So what we want to do is probably go into the orthographic view, and we want to grab, oops, probably, where is it? We want to be in edit mode. We want to grab edges here. We want to grab the side edge and extrude in the X direction. And extrude in the X direction. I'm not entirely sure how many of these segments we'll need. So let's just start with this many. And you know what? I forgot to symmetrize because we're symmetrizing in the X direction. So we extrude in the X direction. And I was expecting for that to happen both ways. Undo. Symmetry. Where are you? Here we go. Okay, so what I'm thinking for the mouth is it's going to be mostly black again. I'm maybe going to get a tiny bit of that anime cat girl. What would you call it? W shape or W? Like literally W. Okay, so we extrude. Why is it not symmetrizing? I guess we can fix it in post. Extrude in the X direction a couple times. 2 and 3. And over here, extrude 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, X symmetry is on. Why is this not doing it? Okay. And now let's go back to grabbing the, we grab these, do they? No, it's not symmetric. Okay, hold on. I'm going to need to figure this out because this is going to be a nightmare without proper symmetry. But basically the idea is we're going to grab these guys. Oh, now it's symmetric. That's annoying. Well, I guess it's not too annoying. And just sort of wrap them around here like this. And then we're going to do the same shrink wrap nonsense that we did with the nose. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 panels on the right. 1, 2, 3 on the left. How are you not symmetric? Symmetrize, damn you. Okay, you're symmetric. You know what? Let's just delete faces. Delete faces. Delete faces. Oh, edges, and what if we dissolve? Dissolve. Dissolve. Okay, so this, I'm hoping, oh no. Things are duplicated. Well, let's see where exactly these things are. Okay, this is the bit that's symmetrized. This is not. Do you think a Soviet something measured 8 meters in length and 2.1 meters in diameter, weight of 27,000 kilograms during an explosive power level of 50 megatons of TNT yield can kill you. Specifically, Yuchi. I'd say no, because Yuchi is just an idea. And if you try to destroy an idea, you will merely make it stronger. Okay. Now we can start extruding. Yuchi is... well, are you seriously not symmetrized? Diddly. What? Okay, hold on. Are you symmetrizing it? It's symmetry. I see. I see. Okay, this is somewhat annoying, but I think solvable. Yeah, okay. Here's what we do. Unsymmetrize. Actually, Control Z, until we only have one square. Okay, so now we extrude once, and now we symmetrize. Now what if we extrude? You know what? Where is this symmetrized from? Dissolve, delete, dissolve. I'm sure you guys have got to be loving me struggling through all this. Just dissolve, and now are you? Okay, you're symmetrized. So surely, if I extrude here, come on, give it to me. Just give it to me, man. You know what we can do? I just had a brain blast. What if instead of extruding things, what if we just started out with it being long and we did a lot of loop cuts? Oh my goodness. Guys, I think I may have just had the biggest brain blast I've ever had. Okay, so now we can start putting these things approximately near the jaw where they would go. Approximately. Okay. One. Move it up just a tiny bit, I think. So here's what I think the broad shape is going to be. It's got to go up a little bit by default in the middle. And then it's got to go something like this, right? Z. Z. And then grab and up a little bit. So something like this, more or less. These can get actually a lot closer to the jaw. Because they're kind of under, aren't they? Yeah, okay. So let's see what happens if we toss a shrink wrap on here. Let's see what it looks like. We need, where is it? Where is that? Modifier shrink wrap. And we are going to muzzle. We want target normal. H-Chi will also be immortal. The H-Chi bomb. Okay, so this didn't work quite as well as I was hoping it would. But actually, it's not that far off, is it? Let's do a little bit of an offset, 0.001. Maybe 0.002. There we go. And we can smooth it out with a sub division surface. Okay, we're getting there. I think we're getting there. Let's grab all these guys at the bottom and bring them up a little bit. Okay, tell me we're not getting there. Tell me we're not getting there. So here's my plan. You can define different mouth shapes and you can refer the mouth shapes to this sort of a base configuration. And what you can do, for example, is you can say, okay, so this is going to be the default closed mouth, for example. And then you can say, the open mouth on the left side, you can do this. You can go like something like this. Oops. It's gonna be kind of ugly. But you can have it, kind of this thing. Oops. And so this way, whenever it thinks my, mouth should be open on the left side, it'll kind of open sort of like this. And we can do a couple of these guys too. Just roughly. Okay, it's a little bit harder to get them to be as precise as I'd like. But hopefully you get the idea here. And actually, you know what? Here's another thing we do. Let's do a 0.005 offset. Might be a little bit much. 0.003 offset. And let's do a solidify. Just add a bit of thickness. Or maybe does this go first? Oh, this goes first. Okay, so subdivide first and then. And that's probably too thick. Yeah, so broadly speaking, there's going to be, and probably I should do this off stream because it's going to be very tedious. Just a lot of this sort of like mouth, messing around with to make different mouth shapes. And so now, instead of being these different PNG images swapping between each other, I should be able to get better control over what the mouth looks like. Actually, bring this back to the default before I accidentally change something and don't remember how to. Okay, so we wanted, yes, this is the order. And you know what? What if these go back even farther? And we probably also then want another couple of loop cuts here, just to give us a little bit more control over exactly how everything looks. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So this is more or less going to be probably the base of what everything sort of comes from. Maybe we bring these up a little bit more down here. GZ. I keep mixing up Y and Z. Yeah, something like this. You know what? Do we go even back? How far does cat mouth go? I guess. And let's do see-through. How come I'm white in thumbnails but blue on stream? That's a good question. Hold on. Let me look at. Oh, you know what? Well, what did I just click? I did not want to click that. Just regular. So it is because the thumbnails I usually do in Blender. And for example, if I was to, so this is like the render mode. So this is doing a quick and dirty job of actually doing the Blender lighting. So I've got where are they? I've got a light. So this is a light source, this is a light source, and this is a light source. And they're all just default white light, and that's why this is white. So for example, if I took this And where are its properties? Here, I think. No, here. And suppose I, change this a lot. Actually, undo. Well, what was that? 0.5-ish. I can change the background color here in Blender. And so if I rendered it, which is this button, just give it a second. It's thinking. I think. Oh, no. Well, this is what the render would look like in the middle here. So it would look blue if I left it here. And the reason it looks white right now and in the thumbnails is because usually I leave this as white. And so when it renders white. On the other hand, Blender is not the program that is doing the rendering that is being shown to you. And that program has slightly different default lighting color. Specifically, it's a little bit of a blue hue. So that is why it looks blue now, but it doesn't look blue in Blender here. This looks slightly, those Chinese dragons that they have in those festivals where they have, a bunch of people basically animating a very long dragon during a parade. This mouth is looking a little bit too much like these mouths. Question you never really did get VTubing. How do you get the tail to move always? Well, it's a bit of a shame to say that's almost as much of a mystery to you as it is to me. So the tail, where's the tail? Let's unhide the tail here. T is for tail. Okay, so the tail has its own mesh here, and you can see it's got these different boxy segments, right? And so the segments are where you can, you can move it, you can, have it basically just move around using those segments. These little bones here, so this is the armature that defines basically like a sort of default standardized skeleton of where things are expected to be. And you can tell the bones here whether or not they should be static or whether or not they should be affected by any kind of physics. And you do that. Where is that? Where is that? Here. So here we have, it is the spring bone springs. And this is its own sort of spring. And then its name is here. The center is here, which is the hips. And then each of these joints, 0, 1, 2, 3, and if we go to pose mode, we can see these are the different joints. They are given some slight physics calculation. And normally, if there's, no sort of stiffness to the spring, they would just sort of fall straight down like this or something like that. But again, the program that I'm using to sort of render all of this business here has some defaults, and those defaults are basically enough springy that we got a tail back here. And it does a little bit of flopping. I do need to look into exactly how it works. You know how the skeleton works and you animate, but you don't know how it's always moving in real time. Because in animation, you exactly move everything yourself unless you add physics, which your PC doesn't handle that. Yeah, I'd imagine that actually rendering a physics engine would be pretty intense. But if it's just a bunch of springs and a bunch of Hooke's law stuff, that's actually pretty cheap for even basically you may just make a very rudimentary physics engine. So that's pretty much what's going on. I've defined these as having springs, and the program that I'm using to sort of render this knows how to interpret that and actually make them springy. Okay, and I always need to, there's a bunch of different modes in Blender. And I always need to remember to go back to the correct ones. Oops. Okay, you know what? Now that these lips are here, and let's go back to selecting the head, please. And let's hide the neck. N is for neck. Neck. I'm beginning to think, and I don't know if you guys agree, but I think the bottom of the mouth is too wide. So what happens if we just kind of went ham over here and made this thinner? And also just brought these in to make things a little bit, wait, hold on. How come you have a 3D nose and mouth even though live it's 2D? Huh? What do you mean even though live it's 2D? So this is the thing you're seeing now that's being sort of me is effectively this process, except instead of using these little sort of, I put these little thickeners on. That was the solidify modifier. Instead of having these little thickeners, instead it was, this is, see this little thing right here in the front? This is the nose image. And then we have all these mouth images are overlapping themselves here. So previously, we had the nose stuck on front here, and that's the nose that you see right now. And then there were these little mouth things that basically just moved back and forth, and only one of them would be in front of the muzzle at a time. And that's what makes the mouth look like it's moving. It's not actually moving. But I think with this muzzle, we can make it move. Okay, let's concavify this. You see on stream, it looks like you use the drawing tool in Blender. So if I knew how to use the drawing tool in Blender, I would have done that. But I don't know how to use the drawing tool in Blender. In fact, I think you're referring to grease pencil. And I believe the first time I used it was earlier in this stream when I sort of drew the approximate nose and mouth positions to try to get a gauge on what was going on with this muzzle shape initially. Hold on. That mouth is a lot lower. So what if we take this and we grab it and we move it in the Y, not the Y direction, in the Z direction? Okay. Getting there. But basically, if I knew how to just draw on Blender, like on the mesh here, and have it look halfway decent, I would probably consider doing that, at least as a first try, or definitely as a reference. Yeah, this is sufficiently cat-like, right? Right? Maybe not sufficiently, but it's getting there. Getting there. Okay, I think we move the middle up some. And you go down and maybe these things go up more. No. No, maybe it does. Hold on. Let's see how this ends up. Maybe? I think I might have to find some more references for exactly how to do this thing. This guy here. Let me see. Should be permitted to know you're eating the best mashed potatoes and gravy from KFC. Well, they're the best mashed potatoes and gravy because they put a ton of cocaine in it. That's what is it? It's not HGH, that's human growth hormone. MSG. If you put MSG in everything and just make it taste amazing. Okay, is this the reference? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hum diddly. Decisions. Decisions, decisions. I think for now we're getting pretty close to being in a good spot. Let's sneak these points a little bit closer now that they're lower. Why? Why? Just get them a little bit closer to the mesh that they're supposed to be snapping to. For the past while, been really broke, so you had instant grits and put random powder seasonings that you never use and a drop of hot sauce, and it was great. That's how I cook rice. Because I have, so usually what I do is I'll make some peanut noodles and I will use ramen noodles for the noodle part of the peanut noodle. And when I do that, I obviously don't use the actual uh, I don't use the actual seasoning packet for the ramen. So what I've been doing recently to make use of those is when I make stir fry, and usually I put stir fry on rice, I'll put the ramen packet seasoning in with the rice as it cooks. So that is my current claim to being a genius. You can take it or leave it, I suppose. Um, hmm. You know what? I think what we do is let's undo a lot of this. Let's bring the mouth back to when it was higher, like right around here. No, maybe right around like here. Because what we can do, because remember, the mouth still needs to open and the chin does not go down as it opens. So when the mouth opens, it's going to be something like, if we can grab all these bottom, it's going to open something like this, in this direction. So I do want this real estate down here to open up the mouth, which means it's probably okay to start a little bit high. Well, maybe we split the difference. Maybe we just split the difference. Can you relate? Because personally, you can eat seasoned croutons like chips. They're so good and crunchy. Maybe, well, for the taste, yes, but croutons always just rip up my gums. So, no, I can't eat croutons on their own. I have to have them at least a little bit. They need to be in a salad and they need to be a little bit softened up by the salad dressing. And this is, see, bring the ends down just a little bit. Keep things nice and smooth. Okay, and I do kind of want this to be a little bit more of a peak here. Where was that? R and here. R and here. Yeah, something like, this-ish. Well, it's not quite right. And that's probably because when I was moving things, I wasn't in this mode. Yeah, something like this. Okay, I think muzzle-wise, this is a good start. How much water do you drink a day? Because apparently you're supposed to drink 1 gallon of water in a day. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't drink that much. I definitely don't drink that much. Oops, that was kind of loud. Sorry. How much water do I drink in a day? I would say a gallon is what? 8 cups? It's either, yeah, a gallon is 64 fluid ounces and 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. So a gallon is 8 cups. I probably drink between 4 and 6 cups every day. And that's not including any fluids that I'd be getting from, water inside whatever food that I happen to eat. Okay, okay. So let's call this a placeholder for the mouth. And I'll deal with making all of the blend shapes and maybe doing something a little bit more complex sometime later. Who knows when? Now, the second thing I wanted to try is something similar, but with the eyes. So let's do a save as. We'll do a +1. And let's move these old eyes out of the way. Maybe we'll just move them up. And is there anything else behind there? No. Okay. Well, let's just make sure. Oh, there is. You're just chugging water. Oops. Chugging water bottles and tap waters, it's way better than regular tap water because you have a well in your backyard, water straight from the dirt. Well, assuming that the dirt around is okay, then yeah, it's probably a bit more tasty than the typical water you might otherwise have. Okay, now here's what I want to do. What I want to see if I can do. Let's try an eyeball. We'll do add another plane. It's down there. We will grab it. We'll move it up. We will rotate it x 90. Whoops. Rotate x 90, please. Please. Rotate x 90. There we go. We shrink it down. We scale it in the x direction. We scale it down some. Grab it in the y direction. So it's out front here. But not that far out front. Not hide. Grab y. Right about there. Grab x. Grab z. Scale down a little bit more. And we'll do a couple of cuts here. Can we symmetrize this cut? Yes. That doesn't look right. Undo. Cut. One in the middle, one on the side, one on the other side. Okay, so I think we can probably make an eyeball out of this. So what we'll do is we'll shrink these guys. So scale you kind of like this. And this is definitely going to be a placeholder. And not eye there. We'll select all here, inset, and yes. Now let's grab all these. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. Look at it all coming together. Well, I don't know if you can call this quite coming together, but it's doing something. Okay, so now we want to get all of these faces, probably very tediously. We will do material and black. That's not what I was hoping for. I was hoping only the outsides would be black. So, is there another way? You don't know if this is the thing where you live, but there's a place called Friendly Gus with tater logs, chicken, other stuff. And you stuffed tater logs chicken in the middle of a biscuit and poured gravy on it. That sounds like a little bit much for me. I think that, yeah, that might be a little bit too rich for my tastes as far as the fillingness is concerned. Okay, can we go back here? No, we can't. Unfortunate. Okay, how would I only put something on these faces? I feel like there must be a way. What if we do a sign? No? Deselect, assign, select? What about, no, that's not it. Undo that. Undo. I guess we could just choose black. Okay, assign, select, select. Um, hmm. Diddly. I might need to look at some more tutorials before we get serious about this. Okay, but it is getting a little bit on the later side of things. Do we continue this or do we let me do some tutorials? Are there any restaurants in your town restricted to your area or state that aren't well known but very tasty? Hmm. I don't think so. I think this place is sufficiently generic that it doesn't really have a local claim to fame that I know of, or at least nothing that is particularly local. There might be a couple of one off restaurants that are just particularly good at what they do. Like maybe there's a really good, say, Cuban or Indian or Canadian cuisine place nearby. But it's not like, one, I probably wouldn't know that it was a standout, and two, I probably haven't been to it for the most part. Okay. Hmm. If I was going to put just a material on the outside here, how would I do that? What if we just get these edges? I wonder. And maybe material black? No, that still didn't do it, huh? Oh, you know what? There's probably a way with all this crazy flowchart graph node network on the left here that I don't know about. What if instead of surface we do volume? No, that didn't help. Displacement? That didn't help. Is it hotter or colder? Because personally, 2 days ago it was 112 degrees Fahrenheit. That is outrageous. That is kind of insane. Um, so I would say it's hotter, but not that hot. Good Lord, not that hot. That would be, I think, way too much, even for me. And I've gotten halfway decent about surviving with the warmth. Deselect. How do I delete this? Can I maybe select these faces and make it white? Oh, that might be how we do it. What if we do a new color and then call it white? Sign. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is looking more like it. This is looking more like it. So now let's take the whole thing, modifiers. Let's add not a subsurface. What was it called? Subdivision. Ah, okay. And I was suggested that the way you solve this squinty problem is you do one more of these tiny little guys here. And we can do 3 in each. Okay. So now we're getting there. At least we seem to be getting somewhere. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Let me scrub you forward. Okay. So now what if I, okay, that's not nearly a thick enough line here. So let's go back here. And before we do that, let's scale this in probably. Maybe about this much. And how do we add this so it's like this? There we go. Okay, yes, there we go. And now we already have X symmetry, so let's grab our vertices. Let's grab the ones on the right here, not hide them. Maybe move them in a little bit. Now let's take the whole thing and rotate. No, rotate. Grab it, get it close to the eyeball location. Not that close. Wait, how did this get messed up? Does that look messed up? Yeah, there's no way that is. Yeah, how did that get kinked? Couldn't have been me. Couldn't have been me. Yeah, right about here, right? Okay, that's better. But not big enough. Eyeball. We ball in. Okay, so we have eyeball, which is something like this. But the eyeball should be more like down here, shouldn't it? And we can bring it out. This is kind of hard to see here. You agree, but you just can't leave. You're stuck with it, with your deal in the state. You definitely want to live in is Idaho. That's only because you just had a really good piece of mashed potatoes and you're thinking about the potato state. Okay, I feel like this is a decent size for an eye, and maybe that's a good spot for it. Maybe. Compared to cat. How do I go to the other side? Shift? No. I guess I don't know how to go to the other side. Tab? No. Idaho or New York. So you can something homeless men and rats. You can channel your inner something or other. We want the eye to be about here. If we put it there, that's the problem. The problem is our skull points out too much. Well, we know how to solve that problem, possibly. And we can solve it by... Oh, but this is going to get a little bit more aggressive, isn't it? We move this back. Are you still playing Project Zomboid today, perhaps? You know what? Yeah. Let us, for Blender, let me just move this out a little bit so I remember it's there. Let's call it here for Blender. And I think the rest of this will be boring and tedious. So maybe I'll either do it later or, we can do another stream sometime. But until then, for now, I did see that there was a tutorial. P is for Project Zomboid. Can I not read? I don't think I can read. Here it is. Okay, click you. Click you. And now I just need to change a little bit on the OBS side of things. If you have any questions on how to play, allows you to answer it. Well, I'm going to be having questions. Okay. You might be able to hear things already. And I need to change this. Key is for project here. Okay, I don't know if we're still here, but it was just a super quick 5-second crash, no big deal. No big deal. Let me see if it's actually still working over here. Okay, I think we're back. Probably. Okay, I think we do the tutorial. These are the end times, they say. There was no hope of survival. There never is. There never is. This is how you died. Click to start. We have the Middle Eastern kind of a background noise. It's either that or it's Indian. I'm not sure. Indian as in India. Okay, I think that's also that. You're gonna have to let me know how the audio level is because I'm not super familiar with how this should be balanced. Okay, soon you'll die horribly, blah, 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 blah. This, you know, this sounds a lot like Dwarf Fortress. I don't know if you've ever played Dwarf Fortress, but they say Dwarf Fortress is fun, but playing it's not fun. Starting a game isn't fun. Completing objectives isn't fun. Building a base isn't fun. So the only thing left is losing, and that means dying. So that must mean dying is fun. Okay, first things first. We can zoom with the mouse wheel. I will never in my life be using the plus and minus. Character information, click on the heart. Health status, scratches, bites, bleeding, broken limbs. Have I played Ace Combat? Never in my life, but I have seen 1 or 2 videos of it. All listed for convenience. We can bandage, okay. Another good panel is the skills panel, wouldn't you know it? It would be such a... well, it's going to happen eventually. The panel shows your points in various different survival skills. Okay, in-game activities, build up skill points. Level you up in each discipline, fair enough. Learning speeds can increase by reading books and watching TV shows while that still exists. Ultimately, we're becoming cold, dead sludge. Time to take off the training wheels. What? Looking at stuff. Hold down the right mouse button, and move the mouse, and we'll turn to face in any angle. Holding left control and I guess we click. I don't know. Did it freeze? Or are we supposed to hold things down? I have a feeling that something terrible has just happened. Oh, no, it didn't freeze. Oh, there we go. I don't know why that didn't do anything. Okay, only see in the direction you're facing. Swift and unexpected. Press space to continue. We move with the WASD. Okay, so it is not tank controls. Kind of disappointing. Adjacent room. After you're done with the stream, need to chud for a few hours and do some ambiguous amphibian Project Zomboid challenges. I didn't know he did Project Zomboid. I'd only seen his Kenshi ones. Okay, right mouse button, and we... okay. Why are we so slow when we strafe? Back to the kitchen, and we learn to acquire things. Give it to me. Double click. Double click. Double click. Eat the dead rat. Eat it. Eat it. Half of it. Eat it. The rest of it. Or is it only half of it at a time? Okay. To learn about moodles. Move. Okay, queasy, not feeling too good. I wish it told us exactly what the hell that means. Not feeling too good. Water supply. Fill. We drink from water, see what's in the other cupboards. Wait, we automatically drink. Okay, good to know. Frying pan, give it to me. Give it to me. Walk to the window and smash. 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 Fine. Fine. Climb out the window, hold E to climb. Whoa. Oh. Strafe, 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 and smack. 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 Wait, hold on. Could have also pressed space to shove her. Okay. Go for the head. Isometric cursor is vital. What is that? Mouse in relation to the floor. Line of the... Oh, that's with the right click. Okay. Ah. That was very loud. That was very loud. Okay, hold on. Options. Audio. Sound volume. Maybe down even a little bit more. Apply. Accept. Okay. Frying pan broke. Let's borrow the hunting knife we planted in... I mean, okay. Can we drop the clip? Uh-huh. Click. Oh. See. Metal Gear. Sneak close to the wall. Go crouch lower. Okay. Sneak around the corner to the fence. Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly getting the idea that farming is an option. Now take his bag and put it on. Give me the bag. Also give me the shoes. Equip. Find a flashing large backpack icon to the side of the inventory panel. Here. Oh, I see. So this is all of the different things. So here we have just carrying generally, or is that everything? And this is inside. Okay. Okay. Equip. Click, click, click. Ah, because if something is stored in a backpack, I suppose you do have to unpack it first. Okay, so right click that. Window to shed, just vault the fence. Running. How do I run? Shift. Okay. Ignore the glass shards. Climb through the broken window. Must I? Okay, bleeding hands, broken glass. I guess that makes sense. H for health. Health. Bandages from the backpack will help. Right-click the red text that's reporting the hurdy left hand and apply a bandage. So right-click the text and bandage. Okay. And look out the window. Right-click. Wait, hold on. Right to interact. Hold left shift. Right to interact. Right to interact. Oh, so it's not hold right-click, it's tap right-click. Open curtains. 2 of them. 3 if you count your sister on the floor there. Better get some improved protection from their nails and teeth. What music do I listen to? It depends. I'd say recently, maybe some Beck? Yeah, recently is probably Beck. Music is the kind of thing that, what actually comes to mind? I'm not sure. Thicker clothing and headwear helps protect from bites and scratches. Put on what you think is best. Okay. I would very much like for this to not be showing here. I suppose we can just pick everything up. Pick everything up. How much could it hurt, really? Prepper is right, geez. You're away from some days. How's the views been? That's a great question. I have no idea. I mean, I guess they've been the same, more or less. Come on, I really wish... Okay, so we can move these things. Let's check the hashtag light resistance. Okay, the leather jacket is pretty good, right? Where? Can we also wear the hunting vest? Let's find out. Where? Leather jacket is worn, yes. Wait, no. It's unequipped. No, wait, what? Okay, so red circle, I guess, means that we wear it? Okay. Okay, so this has 6 rounds. Okay, that's worn, that's worn. What else can we wear? This has bite defense 10, scratch defense 20, 7. So the overalls are better than the denim shirt. But can we continue wearing more things all at the same time? Shorts. I guess these pants are better than the whatever these green camos are. Yeah, the green camos are trash. Yeah, just if a right click shows a green number, I'm putting it on. I feel like this is entirely too many layers of clothing. Hood down, hood up. Visor backwards, of course. And none of these other things are helpful, huh? Oh, I see. It says replace. Okay. Okay, so if it would replace something, it says replace something. Okay. And we can't... It is very interesting. You have to click on the item, not the category. Hold on. How's the hoodie... What is the hoodie replacing? Okay. Okay, I think that's just about everything. Now, is there anything else cheeky to loot around here? Not really, huh? Maybe the box. Nothing. Okay, what do we have for this? The hunting knife is there. Nothing outside. Guess we open the door, huh? Remember, you can sneak to make... I should probably change this button. Okay, so there's sprinting. Can we open? In Metal Gear, I suppose. Okay, high enough skills and aren't exhausted. Tall fences can be climbed, but we need the skills. Okay, good to know. Can I just shoot these from here instead? I feel like that's the thing to do. Sneak. Sneak. Hold on. Red circle will show your aiming at target. And... Okay. I guess it's time to GTFO. Oh no, you ever cried over a game? Probably the only time you did was playing Fallout 3, 13 hours into one non-stop play, and you died. So no saving back at mission 1. It was very sad. I can imagine. Sprint to the outhouse. And let me in. Let me in. If you ever get a zombie bite or fear one is imminent, press Q and you'll swallow the antidote. Why do I feel like the antidote is lead? Is the antidote lead? That feels like a thing that's about to happen. Fallout 3 is a very hard game. I did play Fallout 3. I don't remember it being too difficult as long as you stayed away from the random super mutants with nuke launchers, with mini nuke launchers. I think there was one of those in the city, wasn't there? When you were trying to find Three Dog the first time. But I will say the last time I think I cried, well, I didn't actually cry, but it was damn close. On account of a game was playing The Walking Dead Part 1. That was sad. Why am I not surprised? Okay. So they're coming from somewhere there. Oh, this is a lot of people. Well then. We still have the skills to climb over the fence. That, I wasn't expecting that to open. Okay, we can climb. Oops. Let's not get stuck. Well. Okay. Is there a map somewhere? I feel like all these hard black edges are just... Also, why did this pop up? Get out of here. Oh, that's whatever's on the ground. How do I make it there? How do I make it go away? Ah, you have to get a map. I suppose that does make sense. Okay. How do I open doors? I guess that one's locked. It would make sense. I'm just... Can we go here? I'm just not sure if this very, very harsh black edge means you can't go there. Or... Well, I guess it just means there's trees in the way. Okay, now that is looking like a pretty intense fence. Okay. Means you can't see that far. Yeah. And that also looks like a barbed wire top on the fence, so I think we're not gonna try to oh, what's that? Is that some kind of a building? I feel like this is some kind of a building. Nothing behind us, right? Okay, show me something. Something nice. Ah, hello. Yeah, when you break through the windows, how do I shut a door? Like that. Okay. Just one person, right? Where's my inventory? Equip. Equip, damn you. Right click, unequip? How do I equip this? What if we put the shotgun in the pack? No? Oh, you know... Well, if they're already here... I probably should have expected this. Oh, that's kind of disappointing. Although it does, I am suspecting that that door is it's probably locked. The one that the guy's knocking against. Oh, it opened what? That's some BS. Okay, well, quit to menu. I might have to, you know what? I'm a little bit salty. I kind of want to see that again. Unless, escape. Okay. Escape. Back to menu. I want to see what this load is. Oh, we don't have a save game. So I look at the solo thing here, and there's this. There's Apocalypse. There's Outbreak, which kind of looks mad. One of these looked like it was kind of like the weak one. I don't remember which. Definitely not Extinction. Rising, no. Outbreak, Accelerated, no. I guess maybe it was just Apocalypse. Apocalypse is the normal and easiest mode. I suspect that Rising is probably a little bit easier than Apocalypse, because it does say less stress, tamer zombies. So how stressful could it really be? Or everything wants you dead, some zombies run. So if it weren't for the some zombies run, I would actually consider this. But yeah, I'll have to look up mods as well, I suppose. But I'm curious. I'm curious about that door. Okay, speed run. Zoom out. Zoom in. Go over. Flashing heart. Click. Space. Skills. Skills. Space. 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 Character. X. Left control. Plot twist. Space. Q. Space. WSD. Space. How did we come here? Strafing. Uh-huh. Okay, and it's move the mouse over. Wait. Okay, okay. So loot is just, if you're close enough to the thing, the loot is there. I get it, I think. No? This is the loot. Okay. Dead rat. Gimme. Dead rat. Eat it. Right click. Right click. Double click. Right click. Eat all. Okay. Faucet. Scientifically and based on statistics, modern men or women have more advantages in a zombie apocalypse. Why am I feel like I'm not supposed to be phasing through these cabinets. Moodle, space. Right click, fill. Automatically drink, over here. Frying pan. I have no idea. Honestly, no idea. Okay, open. Enter. Nope. Open. Oh, hold E. Sneak. Smack. Loot. Loot. Could have pressed spacebar. Isometric. Right button. Smack. Okay. Loot. Loot. Whip. Yuchi is a game dev. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Just because, well, I mean, it's maybe less unlikely than you might think. Okay, I don't know how that first one missed. Used to do some game dev. I've never had the, well, I suppose maybe part of as part of a programming class, yeah. Space, click, inventory. Inventory. Where the hell's my inventory? Click. Will this open it? No. Where the hell's my inventory? I clicked something and something terrible happened. You wanted this backward. Large? No, that's not it. Really? Is it just me, or is are a bunch of the interactions busted in this tutorial? I mean, they're probably Loot panel, get out of here. They're probably disabled on purpose, but I would very much enjoy being able to press I and open the inventory right now. Come on. Come on. General item ground. Move over. I'm just pressing buttons. Just pressing buttons. Okay, hold on. What was that? What just happened? Okay, P is for whatever the protection is. Numbers don't do anything. Crafting menu is probably what? C? No? The hell is the crafting menu? B, for whatever reason. L is for skills. Not helpful. K is for, I guess, diagnostics. J is main, whatever that is. Where in the hell is the inventory? Strong itch for anything creative. Every day making Shakespeare lyrics. Iambic pentameter in your head. Always making a game concept. Okay. And what mode is this where it's click on the ground and you go there? What is this? What is happening? Right click. Okay, I don't know what made that mode turn up or what made it go away, but T, R. Okay, so T is whatever this square thing is. Absolutely no clue what that is. Yeah, it would be a little bit of trouble focusing if you got something going through your head like that all the time. No, this is not what we want. Get out of here, crafting panel. Okay, where? Okay, where did this loot panel come from? What did I just press? What just happened? Okay, fine, but now the floor loot panel is gone. Oh my god. I do not understand what's going on with this interface. I do not understand one bit. Okay, WASD, run toward the fence, vault over. E, let's go over here. Health, scratched. Always the right click. And let's get some hashtag swag. Right click. No. Right mouse button. Click. Click. Right mouse button. Okay, that's fine. Space. Through the door. How do I on demand bring up these menus? These are kind of important menus to have on hand. Can we please move your little tooltip out of the way? You're not being very helpful. Just grab everything. Double click to grab, please. Double click to grab. Just take everything. Take everything and wear all the good stuff. Come on. No, we're not a cool kid. Here. Have you ever thought or realized guns are as simple as modern ammo, a barrel, and a nail, slam the nail to the back of the bullet, and then boom, gunshot. It works if your barrel is good, then you have a gun. Yeah, that's basically a slam fire shotgun. Usually that sort of design is done with a shotgun because shotgun doesn't need any kind of rifling to work. And all you really need is a, what is it, like a 1/2 inch wide pipe from Home Depot. And that is definitely a thing that people do. Just wear all these things. Except for the green camo pants because they're trash. No one knows why they're trash, but they are garbage. Oh wow, the overalls are better than the military shorts. Huh. I never would have guessed. Wait, the overalls are not as... What? The overalls are the same as the bloody denim shorts. Interesting. And what else have we got? Water, water, water. And the hoodie is not as good as the baseball cap, apparently. For some reason in your state, you can just make guns with no permit check or anything as long as you don't sell them. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the default, right? It's not like most companies need a permit to make guns either. It's just they make them for the purpose of selling them. And there's no real purpose for them to make them without selling them. And why is this bugged? These things we can drop. Can we drop, please? Drop, please. Drop, please. How do I drop this garbage? I guess we can maybe put it in the backpack. Can we not put it in the backpack? I mean, I'm sure that there are certain age restrictions for possession, but yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, that's the case in most places, actually. So right-click where... Can I please drop this? Game, what are you doing? I know it's a tutorial, but isn't this a little bit much? For not being able to do jack? Can we put it in this way? No. No? Oh, well, this is annoying. This is very annoying. Huh. We can't even drop this garbage. Okay, fine. Fine, that's just gonna have to be frustrating, huh? Okay, E. So anyways, I started blasting. Ooh, can we get a double? Maybe. No. Okay, anything nice? Not really, but can we now put this stuff in? Come on, let me drop this garbage. Let me drop it, please. Do I really have to check all these crates individually? I guess so. Someone tried to kill every zombie in Project Zomboid. Took 13 parts. Heavily edited. Yeah, I could imagine that. Although it is very interesting if this is the kind of game where they don't respawn. I wouldn't have expected that.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. Can I really not drop this junk? Please? Oh, that is frustrating. Okay. Whoop. Whoop. Can we still? Yes. Okay. Let's lure these people. That's too many people to be lured. Come. Oh, there's so many that they don't have to respawn. Yeah, I guess that could do it. Why did I not climb? Okay. Now we just kind of have to try to get through here before they do. Oh. No panic, right? Although I do like it that it's the kind of game where they don't respawn. Because that kind of thing it intrigues me to the possibilities of clearing out different areas. Okay, I guess we can just follow the fence to the building, huh? All right, so the building is small. And let's try to be quick this time. Okay, close the door behind us. Not in front of us, please. And you. Oh, it is. Hopefully we can break the door before they break it in from outside. Should be possible, right? Because I want to see what's in here. Oh, they broke the outside door really fast. Yeah, technically has Minecraft chunk-like system. Okay. Okay, interesting. That is an interesting way to do it. Because if it didn't, imagine they'd wander around, you'd never be able to figure out, did you clear a stone, or is there one guy who just wandered in? Okay. But he was trying to phase through the door there. Can you even break a door down like this? I don't know. Come on. Open. I kind of get the feeling that if this could be opened, it would have been opened by now. What is this? Oh, and of course here they come. Okay, so I think that if that door... I don't think that door is openable while you're alive. Because if we could have broken that door in there open, I think it would have broken open. Between us knocking on it. What are the odds of me living in a zombie apocalypse like Walking Dead in real life? I'm gonna say low. I'm gonna say quite low. That music still feels kind of loud. I don't know how the audio is on your level, or on your end. Audio. You can go down. You can go... Actually, you know what? I don't think that music was obeying this music thing. So let's do like that, maybe. Yeah, that should be fine, right? Okay, apply, accept. Alright, so I think... Unless I come up with a better idea, next time, maybe I'll try to figure out... Well, maybe before then... I'll try to figure out how to load that, what did you call it? Week 1 mod? I'll try to put the week 1 mod on. And maybe we'll start a run. See how that goes. See how long I can last, 6 hours in-game, so like a quarter of a day. But for there, I guess we call it. So I've got 2 things on my to-do list. 3 things. 4 things. 1 is figure out the mouth situation. Default shape. 2 is actually set up all the mouth shapes and figure out how to make it work with this, the software I'm using. 3 is the eyes. And 4 is going to be... Pinky. Pinky, come down. 4 is going to be... Let's do it European style. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, European style is 4. American style. 4. 4 is going to be... downloading and figuring out how to get the week 1 mod working so we can maybe get that started and see how that goes. But okay, with that said, thanks for sticking around through all this, and I guess I'll leave it with I've been Yuchi, and I've been between trying some of this Blender shenanigans and some of this Project Zomboid mod. we've been trying these things. So I'll see you party people on the proverbial flip side. They drop a bomb, so it's best be underground. That's actually very good intel, because there is no way in hell I would have known that without knowing, or without hearing it from someone other than experiencing it. But okay, I'll see all y'all on the proverbial flip side.